Folks, thanks for coming on the line with us today. My name is John Dubas with Premier Marketing, and we'll be spending the next 45 minutes or so discussing those extra necessary plans for the extra non-necessary, so to speak, medical expenses that we all see in our medical claims and no matter what our coverages are. So we have brought on a guest with us today from the folks at SureBridge, and we'll talk a bit about how these programs work with the different programs that you offer, both for the Medicare population and some of the roles that they play in the under 65E area as well. Today's presentation is being recorded, and it, along with a lot of the reference material that we'll allude to through the course of the presentation, will be sent as follow-up to all who have RSVP'd to today's presentation. So watch for that, including a link to the presentation today and a PDF of the PowerPoint that we're using here this afternoon. A bit of refreshment and background on Premier, for those of you who may be unfamiliar with our organization. We are a national marketing organization founded in 1968. We're part of the Integrity Marketing Platform with offices across the country. We act as an insurance wholesaler, providing insurance programs to the general population through independent insurance agents, and those services are available with contracts to those agents at the highest possible commission levels, with recruiting contracts available to those who qualify. As I mentioned, we were founded in 1968, so that means this past year we celebrated a milestone in our history, our 50th anniversary, and that's a really notable achievement for what started as a family agency in rural Nebraska that's become one of the largest producers in the Medicare space, with both Medicare Advantage and Medicare Supplement programs anywhere in the country. We do so through a full portfolio of insurance products that include the Medicare Advantage and Med Supplement programs and the standalone Part D prescription drug plans, a full portfolio of life insurance and annuity programs, including final expense life insurance and pre-need plans. We also offer long-term and short-term care programs, disability income plans, and ancillary benefits, much as what we'll discuss today, that include dental, vision, and hearing products, critical illness and cancer plans, and hospital indemnity programs. That Medicare Advantage portfolio includes all the national carriers and a number of the strong regional providers that make a difference to you in your market. And that same philosophy carries over into the standalone prescription drug plans, where the national carriers are there for you through our organizations. Our Medicare Supplement portfolio is very broad and diverse, and we have a number of tools that help you be successful in that space as well. The ancillary products, which is much of our topic here today, include all those main carriers in the different subsets of this niche market, and we'll discuss today at length how those programs work with the mainstream medical programs that you offer in your insurance practices. When we look at the space that we deal with mostly here at Premier Marketing in the Medicare space, we look at a very large market. And you don't come on a program like this with presenters such as myself or our carrier guest and not discuss the aging of the baby boomers, where a person turns 65 every 8 seconds, over 10,000 people a day. And that is actually a misnomer of the total opportunity we have in the Medicare space, because about 1/6 of that population is under the age of 65, and there are some folks that work past 65 and don't access their Medicare benefits. So it's a very huge population, but it's also one that's very diverse, that is challenged with different chronic conditions, hence the need for very comprehensive care and a wide portfolio of products. And it's one that also has some challenges when it comes to their wallet. So being able to budget through programs that address the gaps in the coverage is very important to our population that we address, because they have different ways of addressing their base benefits through the standard Medicare system as it is, the original system that gives them a choice to self-insure for what original Medicare doesn't insure, or pick up a standardized, modernized Medicare supplement program, supplementing that with a Part D program for their drug coverage, or accessing benefits through the private insurers in the Plan C, the Part C programs, the Medicare Advantage programs. In each of these areas, however they choose to cover themselves, either self-insuring with Medicare or working with Medicare supplements or Medicare Advantage plans, there are needs for additional coverages that Medicare may not cover or may not be covered fully with any extra benefits that they pick up, no matter what their choice of coverage is. One of the things that we see quite a bit of demand for are dental products, and that is a real gap in Medicare coverage because Medicare doesn't cover much of the dental needs of the population we serve. And so that's one of the areas that will be addressed today in some detail. One of the things that we need to make certain that we realize too is this population has some challenges with their wallet, and that is not only part of comes as a part of their income, but also as their savings. So to protect both these areas, having additional coverages can be very beneficial to the population we serve. And that includes the folks that are medically disabled and in need of additional coverages because of those economic constraints that they face. So what we're going to do today is spend the next amount of time discussing some of those plans that are actually necessary for those extra Medicare expenses, some of those things that Medicare doesn't cover. And so we've asked our partner with SureBridge, Mike Zundell, he's the Senior Sales Director for the company, to come with us today and visit about the programs that they offer to help address these needs that our prospects and clients face through everyday challenges that they have. So what I'm going to do now is turn the controls over to Mike and ask him to help us with information on the programs that they offer. Mike, the comm is yours.
All right, John, queuing me up so greatly there. And just to be sure, you guys are seeing hopefully my my PowerPoint slide here, correct?
Yes, we are.
Excellent. All right, we are ready to go then. Well, hey guys, I really appreciate you jumping on, spending some time with me this afternoon. I know we are right into the crazy season, right before AEP, so really means a lot to me that you guys took a few minutes out of your time to learn about what I think is really one of the most important things to keep in mind this AEP, and that is that, you know, stopping at the Medicare sale alone, stopping at a MedSup and a Med Advantage is really only, I think, part of the solution for your client. John did a great job of kind of alluding to that with some of the stats at the front end of this webinar today. But, you know, it's been a real interesting kind of phenomenon for me in our industry. And when I look at the senior space, I kind of see two types of agents out there that are working this space. Okay, and the type 1 agent really focuses on the client's Medicare, and they go in, they enroll the client in a MedSup or a Med Advantage. You know, very rare these days, you've got agents just selling MedSups, usually going to have at least 1 or 2 Advantage plans in their back pocket now. And, you know, the agent completes that sale, and then it's so busy this time of the year, it's on to the next client, you know, and we're working 12, 14 hours a day just trying to get everyone through AEP. The second type of agent that I see out there is just as busy, trying to get in front of just as many clients, but yet they are going above and beyond, and pretty much on every sale or on a majority of their sales, they are cross-selling some sort of an ancillary product to their client, be that a dental plan or a DVH like I'm going to talk about today, or even a hospital indemnity plan that pairs really well with the Medicare Advantage. The second type of agent that I see just diligently and continuously continues to write these ancillary plans throughout AEP. And I spent a lot of time going around talking to agents, trying to pick their heads, trying to learn from them and seeing what I can share, you know, with the other agents I get the chance to get in front of and meet just like today. And, you know, there's one key ingredient. There is one absolutely unavoidable thing that all of these agents do. And every time when I ask them about their strategy and why they're so successful doing it, it's always the very first thing that they mention. And I'm guessing some of you might have an idea what that one thing is. It's really simple, guys. They bring it up. It is a part of their sales process, and they, no matter how busy they get, how many clients they are trying to see, they're not going to get through one meeting with a client this AEP. They're not going to walk out of a single household without at least discussing these ancillary products and how they really form the edges of the client's comprehensive health insurance plan. So it's funny, a lot of times when I'm doing a meeting, I will ask for a show of hands. I'll say, hey, those of you that were in this last AEP, how many of you cross-sold an ancillary product during AEP? And typically, I will have about, I would say, 10 to 30% of the room raise their hand. And then I always make the joke, I've got a lot of people that I need to get drinking the Kool-Aid over the course of my presentation. Of course, can't do that today. I would love if I could have done that with you guys. My guess, though, is just by the very nature of you being on this call today, that we're probably at a much higher proportion than what we typically see out in the field. So again, kudos to you guys for jumping on today. And again, for those of you that haven't done this in the past, the one thing I'm going to talk a lot of product info and this and that, but the biggest thing, if you can remember today more than anything else, just add this to your process. Make sure you are bringing these products up, because no amount of product knowledge, no amount of in-depth study or approaches or different angles it take is going to mean anything unless you guys first and foremost make that a priority. That, hey, this AEP, I don't care how busy I get, I'm going to make sure I talk to my clients about these products. Okay, so with my big pitch out of the way here, let's go ahead and jump in. And before I talk about the products, let's talk a little bit about SureBridge, because I'm guessing some of you may not have been familiar with us before Premier really started to help spread our word out to the field, particularly in the senior market. So we've been one of the best kept secrets, I would say, in the senior space, because we are right now one of the largest, fastest growing ancillary health carriers in the industry. We did over 134 million of premium last year. And again, most of that coming in the underage 65 space. So now with this new partnership with Premier and our kind of really stepping both feet firmly entrenched in the senior space, I think we're going to blow that number out of the water here in 2019. Now, there is never a better time for you guys to start talking to your clients about SureBridge. You may also notice the term Chesapeake Life Insurance Company. Yeah, you may notice it right there at the bottom of the screen in our logo, underwritten by Chesapeake Life. Just know, guys, those are interchangeable terms. We are Chesapeake Life. We brand all these products under that SureBridge brand. And the reason I say this is the best time to start talking to your clients about us, as of this spring, we were actually acquired by United Healthcare, and we are now a part of the United Health Group family of companies. So for those of your clients that may be unfamiliar with SureBridge, you can tell them now they can rest assured, as we are really a part of the preeminent health insurance company in the world. So very exciting time for us. Going from the upstart to really part of, again, the United Health Group has been an absolute game changer for us. And with that, overnight, we went from a B++ company to an A-. So we are now an A-rated company with the AM Best, which should, again, just give you guys, even more proud to represent our brand and what we're trying to do. So I'm going to show you guys real quickly here, and John did a great job of talking about this at the start. Remember, we are not a senior-only company. Pretty much every product that we've got is going to be meant for the underage 65 and as well as the senior space. In fact, if I was to show you my product portfolio for the underage 65, you guys would actually see all of these products plus a number of additional products like disability insurance. We've got a number of different accident plans. So keep that in mind. With the scope of today, we're going to talk about these senior products, but I know John put my my contact info up at the start. Hopefully we'll do that again at the end. Feel free to reach out to me about anything you guys are doing. Again, I'd be really excited to talk to you as well about how we can pair some of these products with an ACA plan or with a short-term medical plan if you are working at underage 65 space. But as you can see here, here's the kind of the breadth of what we've got in the senior market right now. Now, our newest product, Prime DVH, which is going to be the first product I'll talk about today. Actually, we have not built it up onto this slide yet. That's how fresh our new product is. But keep in mind, I'm not going to talk about those two standalone, the standalone dental or standalone vision plans, but those are going to be available as well. I'm going to focus today on the DVH and then the hospital-wise and the CIY suite of products and how these compare with either a MedSup or a Med Advantage plan. So let's start there. Hey, what products actually would pair well with a MedSup? And I'm going to start right by going where I think John went first. He had some really powerful statistics right at the start that drive the need for people on MedSups to really some sort of dental coverage. Okay, so last year we had over 37 million traditional Medicare fee-for-service enrollees, and only 21% of those folks owned a private dental insurance plan. So that gives you a pretty good feel right there for how big this market is. Okay, now I know I'm talking about MedSup, but don't just stop there. Over 8 million Medicare Advantage enrollees last year had plans that had no sort of embedded dental coverage whatsoever. So basically just the same as being in that first group of folks. Now, on top of that, many Medicare Advantage plans that have some embedded dental benefit, they're going to be very limited in scope in what they're covering. Usually really good at helping with a preventative dental service, but not so much when we talk about basic and major dental services. One nice thing about this Prime DVH that we just created, it does not coordinate, it does not subrogate with any other insurance your client may have. So even if they have a Med Advantage plan with some embedded dental, this product can stack nicely right on top of that plan and really work in conjunction with the dental benefit and the Med Advantage. And then finally, like we keep saying, we are not a senior-only client carrier. And when you look at the overall landscape, about 1 in 4 Americans right now don't have any sort of dental coverage. So when we just look at the greater landscape of the American consumer, so many folks right now are going without dental insurance. And what that means to them and their overall health is really tough to ignore. And that's where, in recent years, we are starting to really understand this strong correlation to good oral and dental health and good overall health. So I'm going to talk to you guys about some recent findings that really help drive this need for dental insurance, not just to have good teeth and gum, okay? So first and foremost, regular cleanings and checkups are the absolute front line to detecting oral cancer. This is the number one way that there is now detected. The client goes in for a cleaning or a checkup, and the dentist or the hygienist notice something, and that ultimately leads to the oral cancer diagnosis. And this alone is really important because if we can catch that oral cancer soon enough, it is an actually very curable condition, and we can reduce the chance of it spreading by up to 90% if we catch it early. So literally just going just for the oral cancer screening alone is a huge, huge part of why, especially with our senior clients, we got to get them to go to the dentist. Now, you guys are probably thinking, of course, it helps prevent gum diseases like gingivitis, helps prevent cavities, tooth loss, and bad breath. Those are all things we typically associate with going to the dentist and having good oral health. But here is the stats I was alluding to earlier, and this is where it gets really interesting. Individuals without dental benefits, 29% more likely to have diabetes. They're 50% more likely to have osteoporosis, and they are a whopping 67% more likely to have heart disease than those individuals that do have dental benefits. So again, there is this unmistakable correlation more than ever before to having dental benefits and actually having a lower incidence of these other sort of chronic diseases. Now, hearing, we probably don't think of hearing loss as a big issue in this country, but it's actually the third most common health problem in the United States today. And it too is linked to other things like cognitive decline, brain tissue loss, depression, and dementia. And there are about 29 million adults in the United States right now that could benefit from the use of hearing aids. And I'll bet you everyone on this call probably thinking, or 1 or 2 folks they know firsthand that could definitely use a couple of hearing aids. Now, this is the point where if we were doing a live presentation, one of you guys would say, "What?" And then we'd all laugh because it's the joke that you have to make when giving a hearing insurance presentation. Okay, and then finally, vision. I found this fascinating. Vision exams now are often the first to detect a number of different chronic diseases. Okay, 20% of the time, it's how folks are finding out they have diabetes. 30% of the time, it's where they're being diagnosed with hypertension. And now 65% of the time, this is how clients are finding out that they have high cholesterol. So again, they go into the optometrist, and the optometrist can see the markers for these other sort of diseases as they're looking, directly into their eyes. So as you can see, when we sum up all three of these, it's very, very important, particular to our seniors' overall health, that they every single year go and get their checkup, their cleanings and their checkups for their dental, that they go and see the audiologist every year and get their hearing examination, and that they go to the optometrist and have their vision examination. And the results of not going and getting these things really are cumulative to someone's overall health. And unfortunately, today, when we look at the market, many seniors in particular are not going and seeing these three specialists just due to the fact that they are not covered in the Medicare and that they perceive a significant out-of-pocket cost actually getting these three exams done each year. And that's where we came up with Prime DVH, and we made it different really than anything else that's in the market today. Okay, so first of all, it is going to cover all preventative dental work at 100% from day one with no deductible. Okay, so your client can buy this plan today, go see the dentist tomorrow, get all the preventative dental. When we're talking about preventative dental, we're usually talking about the cleanings and the x-rays. Those are the big two. In addition, they can have their vision and hearing exams from day one covered at 100% with no deductible as well. So again, I was talking about how important it is to see all three specialists. Well, now with this product, we can buy the plan today, and tomorrow we can have all three of those exams completed with zero out-of-pocket costs. Now, in addition to that, we're going to have no waiting period for basic dental procedures. Think things like adjunctive care or like filling. These are typically going to have like a 6-month wait when you look at most dental plans. So we designed Prime DVH to cover all those basic dental procedures immediately as well. And then for the major dental procedures, think of the big ticket items, tooth extractions, root canals, dentures. We were able to put just a 9-month wait to qualify for the major dental procedures, as opposed to the typical 12-month wait you often see on these types of products. You're going to find the premiums on this plan are very competitive. There's really nothing in the market that's going to be, might not be the absolute lowest cost. When you look at the cost for the pool of money that they could potentially receive in return, really nothing in the market that's going to touch this. And since you guys are working through Premier, you actually have access to a very special commission schedule that just is not accessible to anyone else in the market. So definitely talk to your Premier rep about these plans and about the commissions that you're going to generate on them. I think you're going to be very surprised to see just how fairly you're going to be compensated for your guys' hard work. And finally, another key thing when we developed this plan is that we had a lot of complaints about dentists not being in the network. Okay, so we did create this plan with a network for the dental. It's the Carrington Maximum Care Network. We also have a network for the hearing. It's the True Hearing Network. No network for the vision benefit. They're going to go any optometrist in the country. But we created what we call a passive network for this plan. So if your client has the ability to go to one of those in-network providers, then great. It's going to be definitely the first choice. But even if they have to go out network, oftentimes they're going to get the same percentage payout that they would have if they'd have went to an in-network provider. Okay, so keep this in mind. Most dental plans, when you go out of network, it's going to actually pay a lower percentage of the benefit. Well, with ours, we didn't design it that way. You're going to pay the same benefit percentage. What we've done instead is we're going to base the benefit, instead of on the actual cost that the provider is charging, we're going to base our payout on the 75th percentile of the usual and customary charges for that procedure in that geographic area. I know that's a mouthful, but think of it this way. Unless that dentist, that provider, is charging in the upper 25 percentile of all of their competition in their area, this plan is going to pay out just at the same percentage as if the client had went to an in-network dentist. Okay. I do have, and Premier has this, we've got a sample that really illustrates how this passive network works. So if you guys would like to get deeper and really understand the idea of the passive network, again, ask your Premier rep to send you out that piece. And I think you'll see it does a great job of kind of walking through the different scenarios. Hey, here's if they go in network, here's if they go out of network, but this provider is charging within the 75th percentile. Here's if they go out of network and the provider is charging over the 75th percentile. So you can guys get a real good feel for how each of those three types of claims will process. Here's the rates. Again, you guys are going to find very competitive on the rates. And again, like everything we've done, not a senior only product. So we've actually got 3 different benefit options to choose from. And that's going to be the annual maximum on the plan. So we've got $1,000 max, a $1,500 max, and a $2,000 annual max. And then within that, we've got the 5 different age bands. Okay. Now these are issue age premiums. So if your client buys the product, say at 65, they're not going to bump up to that next tier when they turn 66. It's going to keep them locked in at that younger rate. So kind of, did that purposefully with that age 65 block. That way now this year, when you're talking to your client, maybe they're 64, maybe they're already 65, you can help create that sense of urgency to say, hey, let's make sure we get you signed up for Prime DVH while you're still 65, because if we wait for 66, you could be paying up to, $14 a month more in premium if we wait. Anything we can do to help create that sense of urgency with the client, I think, is always going to be in your guys' best interest. So with that, again, I've talked to so many agents about DVH and just about dental insurance, specifically to their med sub clients over the past year. And every single one of them tells me, Mike, this is not rocket science. It's really, once you get comfortable doing it, the first couple times, like anything new, it's going to feel a little awkward. And then it's just so easy. This is I saw in John's invite called dental a demand product. I like that term. Another term I've heard used to describe different types of insurance products are pull products versus push products. So a push product is something like probably the next couple of products I'm going to talk about, things like critical illness or hospital indemnity, where you really need to lay the groundwork with your client and explain to them the need, explain to them why the product exists and why they want to get it. You got to kind of have to push the product to the client. Well, a pull product is the opposite. A pull product is the sort of a product the client is going to actually come to you about. And I would guarantee everyone on this call, if you were selling during last year's AEP, clients were asking you guys about dental. Clients always want to know, well, how am I going to cover my dental expenses? Maybe they had a group dental plan through work, and now they're retiring, and now they're losing that group dental coverage, and they know they need something. But of any of these products, I think dental or DVH is the easiest, and it is the definition of a product that the client's going to come to you for. And when you bring it up with them, they're going to be very receptive to it as well. So the top agents that sell this product, they're asking questions like these. Hey, when was the last time you had your teeth cleaned? How long has it been since you've seen the optometrist? I read the other day, the average senior has not been to the eye doctor in over 5 years. Or how long has it been since you completed a hearing examination? Hey, did you know your traditional Medicare does not cover your basic dental services? There is no benefit for vision exams, glasses, and contacts. And there is nothing there that's going to help you pay for your hearing exams or your hearing aids. And that is where Prime DVH comes in. Like I said, we're real excited. We just started launching this product in the spring. We now have it approved in 35 states plus DC. So you can see we are really blanketing most of the country. Still got a few states where we're trying to get approval in. I did just find out California and Alaska have been approved now. So if you guys are selling either of those states, hopefully we're going to have those up and running here. Should have them just in time for AEP. But just a few little straggler states, and hopefully we'll be getting through here and approved by AEP as well. And if not, should have them immediately after AEP and going into 2020. Okay. So with that, I'm going to transition now to our CIY suite. Okay. And what this is our critical illness portfolio. And I've seen this plan when we're talking in the senior market, probably seen it paired more with the Med Sup. It is available to pair with a Med Advantage as well. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But, When I think of critical illness, it is such a different sale than really any other insurance product on the market. And it is a product whose time has really come. Frankly, a generation, 2 generations ago, we didn't need a product like this because, but more often than not, cancer, heart attack, stroke, those were death sentences. We already had the right product for those. We already had life insurance around a couple generations ago. What's happened over the years is the medical community has created really this great problem for us, and that what used to kill people no longer is. Of course, with that recovery, though, comes some significant costs and significant financial costs that go way beyond the actual direct cost for somebody's health insurance. And when you look at surviving a critical illness like a cancer, so much of that cost that piles up on people are those indirect costs, things that are not covered by the health insurance. And that's where a lump sum product like this can come in and really be the difference in someone having some legitimate financial choices and really having no choice at all. So with us, we designed this product a little bit differently. We have created it so that you can sell just a cancer benefit. And when we sell cancer alone, we're going to call it CancerWise Plus. Or you can sell just a heart stroke benefit. When we sell that alone, we're going to call it HeartWise. Or what we can do is we can combine these to look like a traditional critical illness plan. So if you see start one, we're going to start with step one, start with our base policy of either CancerWise Plus or HeartWise. Then we're going to add whatever riders. So if you guys want a traditional critical illness product, you're going to add CancerWise Plus the heart and stroke rider, plus the critical conditions rider, which covers, really everything else outside of the cancer, heart, stroke in a critical illness plan. Okay. So it's a little more complex, but the reason we did this is we really wanted you guys to have the maximum flexibility in what you're offering to your customers. Maybe you have a client that's really only concerned with heart attack and stroke, or maybe even more likely, they're concerned with everything. They've already been through a cancer diagnosis, so they really couldn't qualify for a cancer plan. Well, now we can sell them just the HeartWise, and we can add the critical condition. So we can really kind of a la carte here, figure out what is most important to our client. What can my client qualify for medically? And we're going to offer that to them, based on what's going to fit their needs the best. So again, like everything, this is not a senior-only product. We go down to age 0. Max issue age is 90. Once you buy this, it is guaranteed renewable for life. So as long as they keep paying the premiums, they're going to be able to keep it as long as they live. There's no benefit reduction. Some of these plans, if you buy a $50,000 plan, it's going to pay you $25,000 after you hit a certain age. This does not do that. We could buy the $50,000 plan at age 90 and be diagnosed at age 110, and we're gonna still pay out that $50,000. The premium factors, it is issue age. Age is going to be an important factor. Sex distinct. Unfortunately, us guys, we just have a higher incidence of these, so we're going to have to pay a little bit more. We actually let you smoke with this plan. It's funny, on our old plan, we had smoker and non-smoker rates. And since we didn't do a paramed and we never did a test for tobacco, we found, wow, nobody uses tobacco anymore, I guess. In reality, I'm sure some of those folks might have been fitting a little bit, but no need for them to even be tempted to do that anymore. We are not even going to penalize the smokers. So, compared to this and other smoker rates, it really blows them out of the water. But you'll find, even compared to this to any other CI that's out there, the rates on this are going to be at the bottom, if not near the bottom. There is a 2412 pre-existing condition. So all that means is if, claim in the first 12 months, we're going to see if that was something that would have been or should have been diagnosed within the previous 24. And then the waiting period is 30 days. So if they are diagnosed with one of these within 30 days of when they take the plan, that is going to be an exclusion. There is a one-time app fee of $20. All of our plans have a $20 app fee with the exception of that Prime DVH. Now, just keep in mind, when you guys are enrolling your clients, we're going to enroll all these plans together. We're going to enroll all family members together. So the maximum fee you're ever going to see is $20. So we could have a husband, wife, and 3 kids, and we're enrolling them in critical illness and hospital. Well, we're still just talking about one $20 app fee for all 6 of those plans combined. As far as the underwriting, if you guys are working with non-senior space, we do have a guaranteed issue of $5,000 and $10,000 for anyone 63 and up. And then when you're thinking about the seniors, we're going to be anywhere between $5,000 and $50,000. That is the max benefit option we're going to do for a 64-year-old. So we use what we call true accept reject underwriting. Okay, there is always going to be almost always will be an instant decision when you guys submit your app. The underwriting is going to purely consist of a height weight chart, which you guys will have access to, and then a series of health questions that are going to populate on the application, and the client will need to answer no to all those questions to qualify. So no MIBs, no phone interviews, no script checks. Again, if your client can answer no to the health questions, and if they're in that height weight, they will be instantly approved. And you guys click submit, you're going to see right on screen, congratulations, you are approved. So here are the three different buckets. Heart-wise is going to cover heart attack, stroke, angioplasty, and see a proportional benefit there. Cancer-wise covers invasive cancer, cancer in situ, benign brain tumor, and we even have a $250 benefit for skin cancer. Then the critical conditions, think of that at everything else. Now, particularly look at some of these for the senior market and how attractive that could be. So we do pay for ALS, Alzheimer's, coma, live independent living. If they cannot perform 2 of the 6 ADLs, we're going to pay 25% of that lump sum benefit. Okay, again, a great kind of a kickstart to a home health care sort of a benefit. Couldn't really call it anything like that, but again, a nice little boost to that sort of a concept. And then organ transplant, end-stage kidney failure. We also have some recurrence riders. So if you tack on these riders, you're going to add a couple bucks a month to the premium. But then if they have a second cancer recurrence or if they have a second heart attack or stroke, we're going to actually pay 50% of that lump sum benefit at separate time. You will note there has to be 365 days occurring between the cancer diagnoses or between the heart attack and stroke. Now, for those of you chicken littles in the crowd today, kind of like my wife, who's always thinking, what's the absolute worst thing that could happen? Marketing made this slide to kind of showcase, hey, if you add on these recurrence riders, these plans could actually pay 400% of the lump sum. And the reason I say that is because each of those 3 pools of money, the client can actually collect the full benefit amount off of. So you see with this poor guy, Joe, purchased a $50,000 critical illness plan and was unfortunately diagnosed. And again, this is not a real life example. This was a made up one. But he was diagnosed with leukemia, so he got his $50,000 check. Then a year later had a heart attack. He's got another $50,000. Then needed a major organ transplant, so he collected the 50 on the critical conditions rider. And then this guy was so unlucky, got a second cancer, this time a lung cancer diagnosis. So he gets 25,000, and then has a second heart attack or stroke. So you can see in the end here, hopefully this would never happen to anybody, but in the absolute worst case scenario, if we've got all 3 buckets and we've got our 2 recurrence riders, one $50,000 plan could pay out all the way up to $200,000. Now here's a case study for your market. I mentioned earlier, I see a lot of these cross with Med Supp. So this example, we did look at the Med Advantage as well, and we looked at the max out of pocket. And we wanted to make sure, sometimes you hear of this dreaded double deductible. We talk about that a lot, selling critical illness in the under age 65 space. And basically the thought is, hey, whatever your max out of pocket is on the year, well, that number could easily double if you're diagnosed at the wrong time. So say you're diagnosed in October, you start your cancer treatment in November, January 1st rolls around, you're still not through your treatment, but yet you've got a whole new out of pocket maximum you're going to have to be on the hook for. So we always like to say, whatever your max amount of pocket is, let's double that number, and that's the minimum amount of critical illness we want to sell. So in this example, we came up with a $20,000 plan for a husband and wife, Victor and Sandy, and they were both age 65. And you can see the premiums on the product. And like I said earlier, Victor just his insulin's going to be a little bit higher, so he's going to have to pay a little bit more. But even for both of these, we kept it under about $75 a month, which I think for an ancillary sale, that's really important. You get too much higher than that, and really tough to make the sale or get the product to stick once you have made it. So I want to talk a little bit about this, less product stuff, more how to bring this up. And I will tell you guys, whether we're talking seniors or in the under age 65, we have seen this 4-question kind of CI close that agents, one way or another, are driving home these kind of 4 questions. Okay. And the first one is just, who do you know? Hey, who do you know that's been through cancer or had a heart attack or a stroke? And that client is instantly going to be thinking of those closest to them. Maybe it was a brother, maybe it was a parent. Hopefully it wasn't a kid, but whoever that closest person to them, they're gonna be thinking of that. And I'll tell you, who do you know is way more effective than any stat you're going to put in front of them. Because no matter how powerful those stats are, for people to tune them out, when you get them thinking about what people they know and what they've seen, how they've gone through this, that's when you're going to really get people wanting to buy. Okay. The next is, was it expected? What kind of a rhetorical question, right? I don't think anyone ever plans on having a heart attack or getting diagnosed with cancer, but this was it expected question really helps reinforce that, hey, your brother John, he was never thinking about this. Everything was fine. One day he went to the doctor's office and the whole world was upended. Did it create emotional or financial stress? Okay. And the key there is that word emotional, because if you just say financial stress, sometimes people will dodge a bullet and they'll get through these without suffering, real significant catastrophic financial setbacks. But even in those cases, the emotional stress obviously is very great when you're dealing with these. Typically when I've talked to people that have been diagnosed with cancer, the money is probably the third thing that comes into play. The first thought is, am I going to die? How am I going to survive? The second thought is, how miserable is this treatment going to be? And then the third is how are we going to pay for this? So again, if was it expected? Did it create emotional or financial stress? And then would a lump sum check have helped? Would it have changed? Now, would it have made everything okay? Of course it doesn't. But your brother Joe, that night when he was diagnosed, if he came home and there was a check for $10 or $20 or $50,000 waiting for him on the kitchen table, how would that have changed the next 6 months of his life? What sort of choices would he have had in his treatment and recovery that only became available because that lump sum of cash was there? Again, when you're thinking about critical illnesses, think of all those things that are indirect costs. The travel to go to the Mayo Clinic, the hotel by the Mayo Clinic, which is invariably going to be $200-300 a night. The ability to access non-traditional treatments. The ability to go outside of network physicians and really go to specialists you see fit. When we're talking to seniors, don't really need to talk as much about replacing the lost income because hopefully for the most part they're retired. But there were so many other indirect expenses that your clients need these funds for. I think unless you really ask these 4 questions to make them visualize what their life is going to be like when that day comes, if they're diagnosed with one of these, and what sort of a difference that check is going to ultimately make for them. That's where I think you really get people that are serious about buying the product. Okay, so now I'm going to transition to my last cross-sell of the day, and that is, what product makes the most sense for my Medicare Advantage client? Medicare Advantage is so nice because it really kind of has the ability to fill so many of a client's medical needs all, with one product and one sale. And really it kind of tightens up everything with the exception of some little copays and some out of pocket. And that's where we have one product, and I know you guys are probably, familiar with this type of product in the past, that just does such a perfect job of filling in those gaps and makes it really easy for the client. And for us, our product is called HospitalWise. Okay, it's our hospital indemnity plan. Like everything, we go down to age 0, max issue age 90. True except for reject underwriting. So just like with critical illness, we've got some health questions. We've got a height, weight. They can fit into that. They're instantly approved. Product guaranteed renewable for life. This one, again, unismoke. It's actually unisex as well. So the males and the females going to pay the same amount. We do have, this is one of the few products where we do kind of family rates on. So you can buy individual plus spouse, individual plus children, or a family rate. And we cut the pre-existing down to 6 months on this one, just a 6-6. We know some of our competitors have a guaranteed issue offering from 64.5 to 65.5. From a pricing perspective, we weren't able to do that. We wanted to make sure we were taking a little healthier crop of folks so we can keep our premiums down. But that was our kind of response to that, just going down to a 6-month pre-X. No waiting period. And this does, like the critical illness, have that $20 application. Okay, So it starts with a daily benefit. We're going to go with anywhere from $50 a day to $1,000 a day. We can go anywhere from a 3-day benefit up to a 365-day benefit. And of course, that's going to pay them every single day they are confined to a hospital. It does include observation benefit, and that is equal to 100% of the daily confinement amount if they are taken to the hospital for observation between 12 and 24 hours. One complaint we've heard a lot with some of these other plans is the client goes in, they're never truly admitted to the hospital, they're just got for observation, and many times there's no benefit paid there. That's why with this plan, we've developed it so, hey, even if they are just their observation, they're going to receive that daily benefit amount. We also included a $250 a day benefit for a mental nervous confinement for up to 7 days per year as well. So another thing that sticks out, not typically covered on these hospital plans. Now, when you look at the riders and covering for all those copays on the Med Advantage, that's where we're really going to design this thing to try and sync it up perfectly. And we've got a lump sum hospital confinement rider that's going to pay anywhere between $250 and $3,000 the first day that they are confined. So you can kind of pair that with a smaller daily benefit and give them that larger amount right up front. We've got outpatient surgery. It's going to go between $250 and $2,000 up to twice a year if they need an outpatient surgical procedure. Here's a big one, the skilled nursing facility. So we can pay the $100 to $500 per day that they are confined to a skilled nursing facility. And we have 3 different benefit periods for that. We have days 1 through 20, days 1 through 100, or as you can guess, why we did it, days 21 to 100, which syncs up perfectly for those days that you typically have the copay on the Med Advantage plan. Likewise, we've got an ER benefit. Going to pay if they have to go to the ER between $100 and $500 up to 4 times a year. An ambulance ride, I'll pay $100 to $500 for up to 4 ambulance visits per year. And then a major diagnostic that up to twice per year can pay between $100 and $500 if they need a CT, MRI, PET scan, EEG, EKG, or a CTA. Okay. So here is an example of how you can take this plan and just pair it up perfectly to cover those out of pockets. So we had Jane here. She's 65 years old. We looked at those out of pockets on her Med Advantage plan. So she has a copay of $285 a day for the first 5 days. So we're going to do our $300 a day policy for 6 days. Comes out to $25 a month. She has a $250 copay for outpatient surgery. So we're going to do $250 on our outpatient surgery rider. ER, she's got an $80 copay. We're going to tack on that smallest ER rider, that $200. $200 for copay for ambulance. You see, we do the $200 there. And again, days 21 through 100, she has an exposure of $175 every single day that she is in a skilled nursing facility. Well, this product's going to pick up perfectly like that. For $7.41 per month, we're able to give her a $200 a day benefit for days 21 through 100. So to me, that's huge. That's really one of the biggest, exposures that they have in the Med Advantage. And then for major diagnostics, she has a 20% coinsurance, so we're going to put $200 on that major diagnostic rider. We came in at just over $50 a month, came in at $54.04. Okay, so as you can see, it's a very popular way to sell this product. We actually have just made this even easier for you guys. So what I did, I took a snapshot of our point of sale tool, and we've got this really neat new feature. So inside of our tool, first thing you do is you pick your zip code, and then it's going to pull up all the Med Advantage carriers that are available in that zip. And you can actually pick the Med Advantage plan you are enrolling your client in, and then what it's going to do, you're going to click view, it's going to spit out that recommendation to fill the gaps. So you can see in this particular example, very similar to what I was just showing you in that case study, we got the $300 copay days 1 through 6, 172, and over here on the right-hand side, it is showing us exactly how we can develop that hospital-wise product to perfectly fill in the gaps for the client. Now, I will tell you guys again, I know I've been beating this drum, you got to bring it up. You got to bring it up. If you guys are selling Med Advantage to your client, you have got to make them understand what these deductibles are, what these copays are, and where the exposure is. And there's, I think in my mind, nothing better than just turning the screen around to the client when you're sitting with them and showing them this exact screen. And I think many times it's going to help kind of paint the picture for them and make them realize just how necessary that this is. And I would again urge you guys, you've got to bring it up. I talked to an agent the other day that I showed this to, and she said, well, my client's in a 0 premium plan. No way am I going to show this. No way am I going to be able to show this to my clients that are in a zero premium plan. And it really kind of made me chuckle because in my mind, wow, what a better client to show this to than someone that you have basically taken all of their health insurance premium and they are now at $0. Yeah, they may be a little tight in terms of disposable income, but you know what? They're the ones that need this product the most. They're the ones that are going to really struggle to have a $285 ambulance bill or to come up with $172 a day for multiple days of a skilled nursing benefit. So again, more than anything, I just urge you guys, get comfortable with these. Start talking to your clients about them now. And don't tell yourself you'll do it after AED, because everybody says that. Very, very few I have seen actually ever go through and make those calls out starting January 1. So that's kind of the end of the product. I did want to mention a couple of things. Getting started with SureBridge. If you guys haven't contracted yet, again, reach out to Premier Marketing Rep. They're going to send you out a contracting invite. You're going to fill all that out, going to submit it. It'll be pending in our system while we wait for your background to come back. But then as soon as that does, you're going to get a welcome email. That's going to have your agent ID and a temp password to get into our agent portal at subsportal.com. And when you log into the agent portal the first time, there's going to be a little orientation you're going to go through. It's going to give you some more info on our products, some do's and don'ts, super easy, 10-question quiz at the end, about the easiest quiz you guys will ever take. And then at that point, you'll get into the homepage, okay? And once you're on the homepage, you're going to want to set up your direct deposit. I know most carriers set that up ahead of time. With us, we're going to default you to paper check. And then once you get into our portal, you can actually switch that from getting paper. Real up your DocuSign. We're going to use that for your digital signature. So the email you get is going to look like this. Got the little activate button right here. Next up, you're going to click set up your password and then click activate. And then lastly, you're going to create your digital signature right there. So once you see on the DocuSign homepage on the ID, your digital signature right there. And with that, I am all done. I'm a little concerned. I'm seeing we're having some audio difficulties, so hopefully you guys have been able.
And bear with us, folks. It appears our audio difficulty has re-entered the equation here, so to speak. So what I'm going to do, as I'm fairly confident Mike was at the end of his presentation, I'm going to pull the screen back and finish with just a few additional thoughts that might be helpful to you in cross-selling ancillary products. Some different selling tips that are tried and true, and I think you'll find them particularly useful in dealing with the Medicare population. And by the way, Mike, thanks for coming on the line and giving the presentation as well. One of the first things we need to remember is to ask. Mike spoke of it a number of times during his presentation, but that's one of the big things that we need to keep in mind as we finish our presentations or begin our presentations for Medicare product. Having these programs in mind is a very important step of the process, but remembering just to go that extra step and to ask can be a huge differentiator, bringing it up. One of the other things that we have is kind of a built-in sales tool is some of the compliance pieces that we have in marketing the Medicare Advantage and standalone PDP programs, and that is the scope of appointment. You'll note on the scope of appointment a couple of key areas that were discussed today. A DVH product and a hospital indemnity program are part of the ancillary world, and it's one of the things that as we visit with folks and as we capture the permission to speak on different topics, setting this up as an expectation of our presentation gives us a natural lead-in to programs that help people with those additional needs. One of the other tools that are available to us that many folks use, particularly in the Medicare supplement world, is the Medicare Source of Truth. And on page 49, it speaks to what is not covered. And so it lays out for us the needs that many people would assume as part of the Medicare world that, oh boy, Medicare will cover that. Well, actually it doesn't. And so those particular pieces are very clearly outlined in our guide and can be a very straightforward way of addressing the situation as well. And then, of course, talking on that topic, expanding upon that topic, is the fact that Medicare is a coverage that is very much considered good coverage, but it doesn't cover everything. And making certain that folks realize that any way that they look at additional means of covering what Medicare doesn't, either they're self-insuring or going the Medicare supplement or Medicare Advantage route, there's no additional coverage for some of these programs that we can make a very solid part of our presentation moving forward. Some of the things that you get by working with us here at Premier in this area as well, we do help you contract with multiple carriers very simply by creating your agent profile in SuranceBay and setting up electronic contracting. The SureBridge program has its own electronic process that is very simple for us to use. And as Mike mentioned, if you don't have this as part of your portfolio, we will follow up with you to help you put this in your bag of tricks, so to speak, for not only AEP, but the time period before and beyond, because it's a need that is a year-round sale and is something that's very easy for us to just mention and close in that circumstance. We also help you with discounted errors and admissions coverage. These are programs that are helpful to you regardless of where your portfolio of products originate. We realize that as an independent agent, you have multiple choices to contract with 4 different programs like this. This E&O coverage, however, will cover you regardless of where that contract originates. And we also help you with bundled CE credits through our association with WebCE to keep your license in good stead as well. As an independent agent, many times we have to also create our own benefit package. So this gives you the opportunity to access disability income programs on a modified guarantee issue basis at a discounted rate, where you share in the commission as well. Much as where today's program is being recorded and follow-up will be sent to you, there are also additional recordings of other presentations that are available to you 24/7, either on our website or on our YouTube site. And a link to these will come to you as part of the follow-up to today's presentation as well. We do offer you those electronic support pieces as well, including a quoting tool that makes it simple for you to cross-sell ancillary products through this piece that's available to you. And of course, the Medicare Center program not only allows you the opportunity to sell electronically in the Medicare Advantage field, but it also allows you to collect that scope of appointment and store it compliantly and set up the process for a cross-sell as well. If you're interested in putting your social media marketing efforts on autopilot, we have a program for you there as well. And we have also the opportunity to bundle not only the sales that you have available through SureBridge and make certain that you have the maximum incentives available for that program, strong commissions, but it also counts on the trip that we have for our agents at Premier as well, which next year is a trip from Miami to the Bahamas. We do also make different lead programs available to you. If you are a friend of Ma Bell and like to cold call, contact lists are available for you at a discounted or no price or no fee basis, and different programs to help you market into the community. Different programs are eligible for inclusion on different retail marketing programs. The Walmart program has different types of options available where they want you selling on a portfolio basis, but offering programs that explain programs like what we've discussed today is a great topic for seminar selling and faith-based opportunities, and gives you the opportunity to stay in constant contact to those centers of influence in your community. We also have additional programs that help you market to providers, and that includes dentists. That this makes a very natural marketing opportunity to those providers moving forward. We do also have different carrier-generated opportunities. These are very much in vogue during AEP with certain carriers. If you are active with that carrier, you stand a much better chance of getting that assistance because that's carrier-driven. However, that is something that is available to you, as are different internet lead programs. Facebook leads are a very strong way of reaching out into the community, and it's something we're seeing a number of agents have great success with. Additionally, we do offer direct mail support based on production. It deeply discounts that cost of an approved mailer through our preferred lead vendors, and we do so in order to help you stay compliant as well. All said and done, we appreciate the opportunity to show you additional programs available to you for your market, and we want to earn that business. So watch for the follow-up to today's presentation, and we'll reach out to you to see how we can make this a part of your overall marketing program and give us the opportunity to work forward with this as soon as possible. It's not one of those things, oh, gee, you got to have it done tomorrow or you can't do it. But it's one of those things, too, that when you hear the old, when all is said and done, more is said than done. This helps you put it in play as part of your overall marketing program. You can reach us at Premier, any of the marketers at Premier, through our toll-free number at 1-800-365-8208 or through our website at premiersmi.com. We look forward to visiting with you in the very near future. As Mike said earlier in the presentation, we thank you for the investment of your time with us today, and we look forward to that visit in the very near future. All that said and done, we also wish you, in the meantime, good selling. Thanks so very much, and we'll talk to you very soon.